Hi guys, back again. Quick intro. Part 3, final of the carriage stop. More or less complete. One or two small concessions I made to various aspects, and I've got the detent ball in to give some resistance, but there is a little bit of slack, and I'll deal with that with a small shim washer once I've worked out what I need. Fortunately, I've got a fair amount of shim stock, so we'll get rid of that little bit of backlash, and which at the moment isn't really an awful lot, but it's enough to make the business end come in a bit when it's under pressure. Can't get everything right, at least not first time. So there you go. I won't dally much more. Most of the explanation is in the video itself. I said at the end, and I apologise again, there's one bit when I'm turning in the lathe and the camera decided to focus on the chips instead of the workpiece. So I'm going to have to use manual focus a bit more. I'm too lazy, that's why. Alright, here we go. Here's part 3 final. Right, let's try and get this little bugger finished off. Having had thoughts about, I've mentioned 2 or 3 times whether to case harden this, but I think Pierre's idea is the best. So I'm going to use a 1/4 inch end mill, pocket that out, and that, I mean, the thickness doesn't matter too much. That there is just under 1/4. Anyway, what I've done, I've taken this piece of 1/4 ground stock, which I'll say it's drill rod. It's pretty damn hard anyway. So I've taken a little slice, which is 350 thou. So the idea is we'll pocket this and set this little piece in. Probably Loctite will be adequate, and smooth off if necessary. Well, I want this pocket on centre, and I thought it was probably, although I've got to get the column up high to use it, I thought the coax would probably set me up on centre a bit better. That's I've got it, it's within half a thou, so I'm happy with that. That's good enough. So we'll put a milling cutter in and set up for depth and make the pocket. The max pocket depth I want is 135 for the little slug. I'm going to go to about 132, 133, so if anything it is just a fraction proud, and then I won't have to finish off the whole surface. Well, that last one was a 4 flute, but on inspection it looked like it would give enough clearance for a shallow pocket, but not the case. Trouble is, like the other day with 3/4 end mills, I've got quite a few 4 flute, and I had to dig out a 2 flute from a cheapy set that I've had for ages. So anyway, we seem to be cutting right now, so I'll take it down to depth. I don't think that was a very good cutter, but I've got down, and we're going to Loctite in anyway, so I hope it fits and will get adequate adhesion. That's a stupid fiddly operation, so I must get on with some of the other things. Well, this is a piece of crap mystery material. it's ragged cut. Anyway, I'm going to do here, taking that down to 1/4, put a thread on it, and then we'll part off up here, and I just have enough left to do the second one. This is for the tightening screws. So we'll get this down, but as I say, this is nasty stuff. I don't know whether I'm focusing on the chips at the bottom again. Probably, damn it. I really can't tell. Oh dear. Anyway, I'll check that. I think there's should be about 5 thou to go, so I'll just check it out. There's nothing on these that's really very critical. Yeah, actually 7.5 to go. I'll get that one finished. Not much to see here, not from your angle. I'm just putting a 1/4 thread on here. And having got it started, now what I often do, which I expect other people may do as well, I don't know, I tend to reverse the tap and get up closer to the shoulder. I shouldn't need it. I actually need 1/2 inch plus a 1/16 or so. I've actually gone to about 5/8. But using the back end of the button die just cuts you up to that last little bit, which probably won't be needed. Alright, that was with the handle, by the way. I'm going to use some of this 3/16 rod for the T-bars. So for simplicity, I'm just drilling 3/16, and I'm using Terry's cross drill setup, which is very handy. Right, that's that one, and I think probably if I can get at it, which I'm not sure, maybe try and do the other one whilst I'm set up. You can probably see the top of the frame there. I've done a rough mark-up and done the second one, so we'll press on. Nearly parted off on this one. I'm just using the spindle handle actually. A bit more control. Oh! I've taken the tailstock out now, that's why. I'll probably break it off and then face it. It's got to have a chamfer anyway. I haven't shown an awful lot as I've gone along. I've just put this in the vise carefully, faced off, bit of chamfer, a little bit of polish, and do the other one, and there's a done. Well, I put the T-bars in, that'll be next I think. Holy smokes, I think I'm nearly done. God, the number of small stages is ridiculous. I've got a couple of pieces of 3/16 here. I'm going to put them on the belt sander, clean the ends, round them off a little bit, and marked up here. It's going to be fairly tight actually, because each screw will only clear its mate by a fraction, and I'm hoping these will be wide enough to give me the turning leverage. But we're going to put leather plugs in. We'll come to that and show you that later. So I'm going to get these drilled. We'll move over to the mill. I'm using my old favourite quarter 26. It's BSF. I just happen to love that thread. Closest I've got to tapping drill is number 4, which is very, very close. It's only a smidgen larger. But this piece of crap has a lousy chisel point on it. It just wasn't doing the job. So I've gone through with a 1364 and hope this will finish it for me. Well, I think that's all the way. Well, I had a good start on the tapping on these, but my BSF taps are probably all somewhat old. The last thing I was going to try was power tapping, so I've been using my hand tapper on the Jacobs, which works very, very well. But it's wide enough to get quite a lot of torque on a small tap. So I'm going to take this out. I'm going to just put a chamfer on here, but I'll finish it up on the bench so I can feel what I'm doing. Well, I must say the quarter BSF threads were a pain in the butt. It's absolute pain. I got about 3 or 4 taps and I think they're all pretty worn out. Hell of a struggle. If I'd power tapped, I'd have broken the tap. So at the end of that last clip, I came out on the bench here and gradually worked my way through. So anyway, what we've got now, finally, the components. Yes. Here are the little turn screws. Now the 3/16 rod across here, it's got some sort of grey finish. I didn't take that off because it would have made them loose. So they're not really quite as nice looking as I would have liked. And whether there's enough turn force, torque, I'm not sure. I think it'll be alright. Now we've got the spring, got the ball, and those are going to be virtually the last to go in. And there's the detent set screw. So we had to turn down there to 100 length and on the point and 1/8 diameter. Rather a large lock nut, that's all I could find. Oh yes, the finish on here, I didn't like that fly cut finish. I don't think I'd really got a very good grind on the tool. I should have had a slower feed, higher revolutions, and got a better finish. I've actually been over this with the on the belt sander. It's not perfect, it's got odd scratches, but it looks a bit better than it did. And the other thing I was going to mention was I noticed in one of the earlier clips when I was turning in the lathe, this damn autofocus was on the chips again. I should really have gone to manual focus, but it's a bit of a hassle, so I apologise about that. Anyway, we're going to try and put this together. Now the other thing I haven't shown you and these probably won't show very much. These are little slugs of leather. What I'm hoping is that by driving the leather against the ways I will get some grip and also protection. So I'm going to start putting this together. I won't bore you with the whole thing, because when I come to this detent ball I've got to be super careful, because I don't want to lose the bugger. Oh my gosh, getting that spring and ball in was ridiculous. Anyway, now that will stay put. There's just enough drag, and whether you will see, I don't know. Oh, and incidentally, the other thing which I talked about, I didn't show you, I don't think. There's the little piece of ground hardened rod which we've let into the tip here. It's about a thou or so plus, which is what I wanted. So that should cope well with the ball bearing on the end of the probe. And then here, I don't think you'll see, I'll just push them in. Two little leather slugs, and get these started. I'm hoping these slugs will actually flatten out a little bit. Hang on, I'm out of frame again. I'll set it up in a minute and see what it's like. But you know what I said earlier, I've said in my comments, small job, fiddly as hell, and even when it comes to making two little fellas like that, there's still quite a bit involved. I'm going to try that on the ways, and I'll shift the camera over in a minute. Well, there she is in place. Now that ain't going anywhere. Let's just unscrew that and see. That comes off. See, two little, you may not see those, two little pad marks. Push that on. Oops, hands in the way as always. Do that up until you can feel some tension. Yes. Now I'm pleased with that. That leather pad does good. Better than brass, I think. And then the adjustment. There's just enough resistance from the ball to make the little bit of drag on the adjustment. The only thing I've yet to do, and I've just thought about it, now I've got it all in place, because I didn't want to make the adjustment too tight in the slot. There's just a very small, I think that's probably about maybe 3 thou, little bit of slack that way. So what I'll do is make a tiny little shim for the end here. And just take up that bit of slack. It doesn't really matter too much because, yes, definitely need a little shim, just so I get rid of that little bit of backlash. And of course, the only other thing is to read. I'm disappearing now onto my knees. To read the scale, I've got to come down to the side. The reason it's so low down in here is to cope with the probe, and I don't know whether that's going to show. There we are, you can see the probe coming up. But that little bit of slack, just got to get rid of that. So overall, I think I'm going to call it finished. And the second, actually this is the second detent ball. I did lose the first one. Thank heaven I've got a few spares. So just to look at a low angle, I didn't need all that thread on there actually. I might even shorten those. I made allowance for going right through, and of course my leather is a bit thicker than I'd intended, but I think it's better that way. So we're almost there, and I'm going to call that done. Just a bit of shim material to sort out when I get to it. So there she is, final look. So we dealt with all the corners and edges, and as I said by the machine just now, a little bit of shim steel on that end to take up the little bit of slack, and I think we're good then. Alright guys, thanks for sticking with the series. I'd hoped to do this in 2 parts, but even what was left here in part 3, which was these pieces, and what else? Oh, the end hardened piece. Never seems much, but it takes time. So again, thanks for watching guys.